All right. It's really long. Okay. All right. Beautiful daf ahead of us today. Today's daf is Kuf Tes Vav. 115. We are picking up on the bottom of 114. The last mamish, last time I put two dots. Our shir this morning is sponsored by Moshe David Artman in commemoration of the yahrzeit of his father. Fishel Beryl ben Yitzchak Gershon. We hope that in the merit of our Talmud Torah, his neshama will have an aliyah and the family in the Chama. Shkoyach. So we'll say, let's begin. So the Gemara says as follows. Last two words on Kuf Yud Daled Amud Beis. Ela me'ata. So we'll say, if you remember again, in yesterday's daf, we actually had a fascinating concept. If we had a statement of Rav Ashi, and Rav Ashi said, Minayin lebasar b'chalav she'asar b'achila. I'm just quoting to you from the previous Gemara. So from where do we know that basar b'chalav is asar b'achila, that you're not permitted to eat basar b'chalav? From where do we know that from? Shene'emar lo sochal kol to'eva. So he said, based on the pasuk, do not eat any abomination. Do not eat any to'eva. So the Gemara darshan from there, Rav Ashi darshan from there, kol she'ta'afti l'cha harehu b'val tochal. Anything that I said is abominable to you, you cannot eat. In other words, anything that is a to'eva has an isser achila. That's what Rav Ashi said. Based on that. So the Gemara both is now going to raise a number of questions based on that. Elamiata, but using that logic, that anything that is a to'eva, which means Rav both say anything that is asr, essentially has an isser achila. Top of Kuf Tesvav, Maisa Shabbos Litzru. So we'll say if that's the case, then what? Then Halacha Lamaisa, Maisa Shabbos. We'll say what's Maisa Shabbos? Anything you made on Shabbos, look at Rashi. Kigon, Hamavashal b'Shabbos. We'll say, let's say someone cooks on Shabbos. So what's the halacha? Litzru b'achila l'chol Yisrael. If that's the case, then that which you cook on Shabbos should become asr b'achila for every Jew. Daha is harticha l'tavo l'zrachi mimenu. So listen to this. So if that's the case, that anything that is a to'eva has an isser achila, so that should mean as follows. If I go ahead and I cook on Shabbos, that which I cook, which of course is asr, if that which I cook on Shabbos should be asr. And we know the halacha is that if you go ahead and you cook b'mezid, it's asr, the olam, but b'shogeg, it is not. To which the Gemara says, the hata'afti l'chahu. Amakra, Shabbos is different. Why? Because what does the pasuk say? Ki kadosh hi lochem. Because the pasuk says, Shabbos is kodesh for you. Hi kodesh, Shabbos is kodesh, ve'in ma'aseh kodesh. And ultimate, but it's ma'aseh, which means I will say that which you do on it is not kodesh. So the idea I will say is we have a special pasuk that's an out. Meaning the principle is true, but Shabbos is an exception to that. Shabbos is Kodesh, but in this case over here, Kodesh meaning something not just sanctified, but also off limits. Only it is Shabbos that is sanctified, but ultimately that which you do on Shabbos, even if a person performs an act of malacha, will not be aser. Choresh b'shar b'chamar. So we'll say, what about a case of plowing with an ox and a donkey, which of course is an iser d'oraisa. V'choseim pipara, or if one goes ahead and what? One goes ahead and muzzles a cow, vidashba, and threshes with that cow, litzru. So we'll say, so again, using the logic that Rav Ashi espoused on the previous daf, which is anything that is asr becomes a to'eva. Anything which becomes a to'eva, what happens? I will say, what happens? Anything which becomes a to'eva, it becomes asr ba'achila. So we'll say, so now this is actually very interesting. So if that's the case, you're not allowed to plow with an ox and a donkey together. You're not allowed to muzzle your cow or your ox when it threshes. If I went ahead and indeed I did plow with an ox and a donkey, or I muzzled my cow when it's threshing, that which I planted should be asr. That which I threshed should be asr. So the Gemara says, Daha ti'afti l'chahu. Because ultimately, again, remember it's a to'eva, it's asr, and based on what Rav Ashi said, anything that's a to'eva and asr should be having isra achila. To which the Gemara says, Hashta Uma Shabbos dechamira ma'asehel mutarin. To which the Gemara says, but when it comes to Shabbos, which is more chamer, right? Shabbos, of course, will say is more chamer than these other isurim. Yet ma'asehel mutarim. Ultimately, again, its actions or its results are mutar. Hani la kol shekin. all the more so I will say ultimately chori shar b'chamar, chosem pi para v'dashba, all of these are going to be mutter as well. Good. So we'll say so klai zarim. So first of all, we'll see this by itself, it happens to be an interesting idea, which is that the Gemara is teaching us, just as an aside, that although there are isurim involved in the creation of something, let's say for example, there's isurim involved in the threshing of the field, or in the plowing of the field, or in the threshing of the grain, that does not prohibit the final product. So there's an isser involved in the production process, but ultimately, again, that isser does not go ahead and invalidate the final product. It doesn't say that the grain is usser. So the Gemara goes weiter. Klai zarim l'siru. So Michael Leibowitz raised this question yesterday after Shir. So klai zarim l'siru. So we'll say, what about forbidden mixtures of seeds? Right, so if you go ahead and you mix together seeds, which is usr, that's kilayim. So therefore, again, the product of that, when you plant it, so that product should be usr, klai zarim l'siru, daha ti afti l'cha. So ultimately, we'll say, because why? Same idea, because it's usr, right? Anything, based on what Rav Ashi said, anything that is usr, what's the halacha? What's the halacha? Becomes an isra achila. If you're not allowed to do it, the product becomes usr ba'achila, kol sheti afti l'cha. So klai zarim, I go ahead and I mix seeds together, I plant them. That should be aser. To which the Gemara says, klai zarim l'sru, dahati afti l'chahu. Because we'll say ultimately, again, it's a toeva. Midigali rachmana gabe klai hakerem. Because since it said by klai hakerem, right? You must remember again, klai hakerem refers to literal kilayim of wheat and grapes. Pen tikdash. I will say it says pen tikdash hamalea. We darshan the word tikdash is pentukad eish. What do you have to do with klai hakerem? We'll say if you go ahead and you plant grain and grape seeds together, what do you have to do to that mixture? You have to burn it down, right? You have to destroy it. So michlal the klai zarim sharu. We'll say the fact that the Torah explicitly says that I have to destroy klai hakerem tells me that klai zraim are permitted. It is only klai hakerem which have to be destroyed, but klai zarim ultimately are permitted. I ve'ima klai kerem asurim bein ba'achila bein ba'hana. Klai zraim ba'achila asiri ba'hana shari. Maybe I should say like this. Maybe klai hakerem are asur ba'achila and ba'hana. But I'm sorry. Maybe klai hakerem are asurim ba'achila and hana. But klai hakerem, I don't know if I'm saying the right word. Klai kerem are asur ba'achila ba'hana. Klai zarim are only ba'achila asiri ba'hana sharu. But ultimately, again, klai zraim, which also means forbidden mixture of seeds, will be asur ba'achila, but mutter ba'hana. To which the Gemara says no, because iskush leklai behema. It's compared ultimately again to the mixture of species of animals. Dichsiv behem techalo sarbiya kilayim sad chalo sizra kilayim. Torah juxtaposes and darshans the comparison between klai behema and klai zraim to teach me as follows: Ma behem techa hayotse mimena muteres. But I'll say just like when it comes to my behema, and this is actually very interesting about say. See, it is forbidden to crossbreed animals. It is forbidden to crossbreed animals. But, halacha l'maisa, if you did it, the result of that is going to be permitted. But I'll say this is an incredible yisod, right? That halacha l'maisa, again, you're not allowed to create these forbidden mixtures. But if you did it, the result is going to be mutter. It's interesting. See, I will say often isurim are result oriented. Here, the isser is in the process, but if you did it, the result is ultimately mutter. Ma behem techayot simen muteres. Just like if you crossbreed animals, ultimately again the resulting product will be mutter. Afsadcha hayotze mimenu mutter. So too when it comes to your field, if you go ahead and you crossbreed, right? You crossbreed seeds, right? Klai zraim. Ultimately, again, it will be mutter. And I will say the only exception to that rule, of course, is what? Well, there are a couple of exceptions to that rule, right? First of all, klai hakerem, you have to destroy it even after you go ahead and you made it. And remember, again, of course, basar b'chalav is an interesting example of this also, where not only is the actual creation of the entity aser, but the resulting product is aser as well. Uklai behema gufay minalan. And I will say, klai behema, from where do I know that halacha l'maisa? The resulting product, although you're not permitted to go ahead and mate different species of animals, if you did so, the resulting product will be mutter. Minalan. Mida aser rachmana kloim legavoa. So also listen to this. It's actually very interesting. So from the fact that the Torah said that you are not permitted to go ahead and bring kilayim legavoa, right, for any type of sacrificial use, michlal de lahedyot shari. But say from that I could infer that ultimately for regular mundane use it's mutter. So it's actually quite amazing. The fact that the Torah goes out of its way to tell me that if you crossbred an animal, such an animal cannot be used for carbonic purposes, tells me that what? That for regular purposes ultimately is permitted. And therefore again halacha l'maisa. We'll say, right, just about I'll give you like nakalei behima, but aren't tangerines a mixture of something? Am I making that up? Yeah? Nectarines. Okay, one of the reens. It's close enough for Shushan Purim, right? So it's interesting, by the way, because if you think about it, why should you be permitted to eat that? If at the end of the day it's kilayim, which essentially it is, we'll say it's based on this, because halacha l'maisa, although I'm not suggesting, the halachos of kilayim are a bit more complex, but I'm just pointing out that the resulting product of kilay has kilay ziraim, just like the resulting product of kilay behema, right? Kilayim of behema ultimately again is permitted, even if the process is technically prohibited. Ultimately, the resulting product is permitted for consumption. Good. So by kilay behema, the fact that the Torah goes ahead and asers their use ligavoa tells me that for hedyot purposes they are mutter. Osovies beno lisser. So we'll say another case. So osovies beno. So it's actually very interesting. So we'll say, let's say I go ahead. The case of osovies beno is I'm going ahead and shechting the mother and the child on the same day. So I did something wrong. So I want to be clear. I shechted the mother and the son on the same day. So what's my status? I did an avera. Now that I did the avera, okay, now what's my shaila? What's the status of the stuff, right? What's the status of the meat? Granted, so what's the status? So the Gemara says like this: Osovies beno lissar. So osovies should be asra ba'achila ba'anar. Both, so you can remember, we're working off the basic premise of Ravashi, which is lo sochal kol toeva, which tells me anything that is asr is a toeva, and therefore Ravashi is suggesting that lo sochal babal tochal tells me I can't eat it, I can't get hana from it. So says the Gemara, osovies beno. Let's say I violated the halacha and I shechted them both. Lissar should become asar b'achila b'ano. Mida asar achmana mechusar zman legavoa. So we'll say the fact that the Torah says that mechusar zman. We'll say mechusar zman is an animal which is time deficient. So we'll discuss what that means in just a moment. The fact that you cannot offer up a mechusar zman animal as a carbon, michlal de lahedyot shari, tells me that, again, for regular mundane purposes, it's mutter. Now, we'll say, now, what does that mean? Take a look at Rashi for just a moment. It's the Rashi right above Shiluach HaKan. It doesn't have its own different maskos right after the two dots. Osovies beno, eino elo mechusar zman, shayom asr umachar mutter. So it's actually quite interesting. So the classic case of mechusar zman is that the Torah tells us that in order to be makar v'karban, the animal must be at least 8 days old. Miyom hashmini v'hala. Right, from 8 days and on. So mechusar zman means it's not 8 days old. Osovies beno is also mechusar zman. It's time deficient. Why? Because what's the halacha? The halacha is that they're not permitted to be shechted and offered on the same day, right? But you could stack, right? Do one today, one tomorrow, and it's fine. So that's called mechusar zman. So the Gemara says the fact that mechusar zman is a prohibition that is spelled out vis-a-vis the Beis Hamikdash, the Mizbeach, tells me that lahedyot, for regular mundane purposes or for regular mundane use, it is ultimately permitted. What about Shiluach HaKan? I'm supposed to say this as another very interesting case. I went ahead and I violated, and what did I do? I took the mother from right on top of the chicks, right? Or I took the chicks from underneath the mother, right? So Rashi says, Shiluach HaKan lissar, listen to this, Kigon, Notal es ha'im me'al habanim, uba lifanenu v'chayvinu l'shaleach, kidisnan l'kamon, m'shaleach ve'in aloke. Supposed to listen to this. It's actually quite interesting. If we're going to see this later on, if halacha l'maisa, I went ahead and I took the mother from on top of the chicks, which is us, right? You're supposed to send away the mother. I took the mother, and now what happens? I did an avera. I come to Beis Din, and I'm holding the mother in my hand, right? Why? Because I want to figure out what's my tshuva. I want to do tshuva, right? But I don't know what to do, so I'm nervous to let go of the mother until I find out what my tshuva is. Beis Din says, you know what your tshuva is? Let the mother go. Let the mother go. So maybe I should say like this, maybe the mother should become Aser, right? Because again, she is something, she is, right, I committed the Isser with the mother, right? I should have sent it away, instead I held on to it. So maybe the mother should become Aser. Suppose this is amazing. The Gemara says that doesn't work for one simple reason. Lo amra Torah shaleach l'takala. We'll say because the Torah did not say send away the mother to create a stumbling block for someone else. Because we'll say, think this out for just a moment. If halach l'maisa, that mother would become Aser. So what happens? Gans tsaris. Because what's going to happen? That bird's going to fly off into wherever until ultimately someone else decides to have her for dinner. And I would say, and then what happens? And what happens in that circumstance then is what? Someone's going to end up consuming something aser without even realizing it. So fine. So I'll say, so that's the end of the sugya. So even though again Rav Ashi's logic works vis-a-vis basa b'chalav, we try to apply it to all these other circumstances, and we've demonstrated why it does not apply to these other circumstances. Amar Reish Lakish, minayin lebasa b'chalav she'aser. From where do we know that basa b'chalav is aser? Talmud lomar al toch. Supposed to listen to this. Talmud lomar al tochlu mimenu na ubashal muvushal. So this is absolutely incredible. So the Torah says like this. By Karban Pesach. We'll say, by the way, do you realize like the hashgacha pratis of this? My one regret of Purim. It's good, by the way, to come out of Purim with only one regret. It's a successful Purim, right? I forgot to start Hilchos Pesach yesterday at the Purim Suda. That's the halacha. You're supposed to start Hilchos Pesach at your Purim Suda. How incredible it is that on Shushan Purim, right, Shloshim Yom Kodem Achag, Mamish, the Gemara is bringing down halachos of Karban Pesach. Incredible. The pasuk says by Karban Pesach, Al tochlo mimenu na ubashal muvushal b'mayim. Torah says you shall not eat of the carbon raw or cooked in water. Cooked in water. Shein tamalomar mevushal. So we'll say the phrase bashal mevushal is redundant, right? Karban Pesach has to be roasted. Torah just says, tell me, don't eat it raw and don't eat it cooked. Cooked usually means like with a liquid medium. Why bashal mevushal? That's double lashon. To which the Gemara says, shein tamalomar ela mevushal. Ma tamalomar mevushal. So the Gemara says, lomar lecha, to teach me, sheyesh lecha bishal achar shehu kazeh. To teach me that there's another case of bishul that is like this. So what does that mean? There's another case of bishul that's like this. Just like bishul by Karban Pesach is aser, there's another case of bishul which is aser. What's the case of bishul which is aser? Ve'ezah zeh. We'll say, what's the other case of bishul which is aser? This is isser achil. Remember again, we're asking over here, when the Gemara asks, from where do we know that basar b'chalav is aser? We're asking, from where do we know that basar b'chalav is aser ba'achila? Because remember again, I will say, what are we struggling with? We're struggling with ultimately the fact that it says lo. Can I give me a cup of water? It says lo sivashel gadi b'chalev imo. So I'll say, so ultimately again, so we're dealing with this issue of that's the lashon lo sivashel, do not cook. So we've darshed it. So I'll say we're trying to discover where does the Isra'achila come from. So we had Rav Ashi. Kol lo sochal kol toeva. That was what we did until now. Now the Reish Lakish is suggesting something else. He says ultimately there's a redundancy by Karban Pesach. You're not allowed to eat the Karban Pesach. Bashal mevushal. Bashal mevushal. So Rabbi said, so why the double lashon? To teach me that there's another circumstance just like Karban. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to be matriarch. To teach me that there's another case like Karban Pesach that has an Isser Bishul. What's that other case? Ve'ezah zeh basar b'chalav. Both say to teach me that there's another case of Isser Achila, right? There's another case where you can't eat something if you cook it. Just like Karban Pesach, you can't eat it if you cook it, right? So too there's another case where if you cook it, you may not eat it. What's the other case where if you cook it, you may not eat it? Ve'ezah zeh basar b'chalav. Ultimately, basar b'chala. So we'll say amazing. So we're learning out the Isra Achila of basar b'chala from Karban Pesach. Amazing. Amr Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Yochanan says, Amud Bezer will say, Ki'ura zu sheshana Rabbi lo sochlenu bebasar b'chala v'akasav medaber. So it says the Gemara. So it's actually very interesting. So you have Rabbi Yochanan saying to Reish Lakish, is it so bad for you? The previous drasha that Rebbe said, in other words, why do you have to reinvent the wheel? and learn out the drasha for Karban Pesach. We spoke about this already. We had this conversation already. And Rebbe learned this out from us. Where did Rebbe learn it out from? Lo sochlanu. When the pasuk says, Rabbi say, Lo sochlanu l'man yitav l'chol l'vanecha acharecha. So Lo sochlanu refers to what? Bebasar b'chalav akasav medaber. Torah is talking about ultimately basar b'chalav. Now, both say, now take a look at Rashi for just a moment. Tap Rashi on Kuf Tesvav Amadeis. Ke'ura zu sheshana Rebbe. Kilomar. I don't understand what's wrong with Rebbe's drasha that you need to start making new drashas from Karban Pesach. And I will say, what is this pasuk referring to of Lo Sochlan? Rashi says, Yisera dichsiv bere'ei anochi gabe psul hamukdashin sheniftu. Rak hadam lo sochlanu ala aretz tishbachenu kamayim b'hadir ksiv lo sochlanu l'man yitav l'cha l'dam lo itzrichta krak sivi tuva umukili l'bas b'chal. Supposed to listen to this. So after the Torah goes ahead and spells out the prohibition of blood, this is by psula mukdashin, Torah throws in another phrase of lo sochlanu. Now I don't need that lo sochlanu to teach me about blood, because we already explicitly spoke about blood. So what does the lo sochlanu come to teach us? So Rebbe uses this extra lo sochlanu to teach us about the isser achila of basar b'chalav. Okay, that's what he uses it for. So as says Reish Lakish, says Rabbi Yochanan's Reish Lakish, why do you need to start darshaning from Karban Pesach? What's wrong with Rebbe's drasha? So the Gemara says, lo sochlanu b'basar b'chalav akasav medaber. Aton b'basar b'chalav akasav medaber. So maybe you'll say, how do you know that this lo sochlanu is referring to basar b'chalav? Maybe it's referring to some other isser in the Torah. Say ulamad miyud gimel midos she'atorah nidreshes bohen. To which the Gemara says, we'll go out and learn from the Yud Gimel Midos. So let's remember again, the Yud Gimel Midos are the 13 exegetical principles. You know, there's that page before Mizmor Shir, you know, that the printer had to fill up with something, right? So he put in that thing called Yud Gimel Midos, you know. So it's actually incredible. There's a whole discussion as to why are we putting that there? What does that have to do with davening? So understand, the Yud Gimel Midos are the fundamental, like, decoder keys. They're the fundamental principles through which we are able to understand and extrapolate meaning from Torah. Without those 13 principles, I will say, we would not be able to understand everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tries to convey to us. They're the fundamental underpinning for our Yiddishkeit. So we'll say one of them is Davar Halame Me'inyano. So we'll say ultimately again, if we learn something out from its context, right? So Dara Halame Me'inyano. B'ma Kosu Medaber. So we'll say, in that pasuk of Lo Sochlanu, what is the Torah speaking about? Bishnei Minin. It's talking about two different things. Look at Rashi. Davar halamed mi'inyano, davar sasum ein mufurash bo b'ma medaber. So we'll say, remember again, here's what we have. We have a pasuk that says lo sochlanu, right? What's my problem? I don't know what it is referring to. I'm just not sure exactly what it's referring to. So we'll say, so therefore again, the principle of davar halamed mi'inyano says that halacha l'maisa, when you have something that is sasum, that is unclear, but it's written in a particular context, you could learn out the meaning of the obscure item from the context in which it is stated. That's davar halamed me'inyano. So we'll say, so by this pasuk of lo sochlanu, what's the topic? B'shnei minin, Rashi says, psuli hamukdashin sheniftu, shnei minin hein mutarin ba'achila, Chullin, va'asurin begiza va'avoda kekachim. So we'll say psula mukdashim means if you have items which have become disqualified sacrificial offerings. So what's the halacha? The halacha is that you are permitted to eat them, but you are not permitted to shear them. Right? You're not permitted to maintain them for shearing purposes. So we'll say, so the Torah tells you about psula mukdashim, tells you two elements of psula mukdashim: mutar ba'achila, asr begiza. So we'll say, so therefore we understand that that's the context. Therefore, just like the context, the inyano is talking about two things. So therefore, again, lo sochlanu was also talking about the combination of two things. Afkan b'shnei minin. So to the pasuk is referring to an isser involving the mixture of two things. And which two things are we referring to? Basar b'chalav. So we'll say, so that's how the Gemara darshans ultimately, again, this lo sochlanu as referring ultimately to the isra achila of basar b'chalav. So imeahi, so says the Gemara, but if you're going to learn out from there, hava amina hani mili ba'achila. Okay, so I would understand then. Then I will say, so what do I learn out from lo sochlenu? Lo sochlenu means that it's asur b'achila. Okay, ava bahana lo. But ultimately, again, bahana maybe not. Therefore, again, kamashon that's not the case. Kamashon that halacha lemaisa. The Gemara tells us that what? That it is asur not only ba'achila but also bahana. Look at Rashi. Ava bahana lo kamash malon mehaikra dechsiva ashara didei gabe pesach ma pesach mavushal. Aser ba'achila bana dechal kachim she'inam ru'uyim la'achila tu'ubar tzurason v'yitzul beis asrifa av ze aser bana. So we'll say, let's just close the circuit. So if you remember again, how did this whole discussion get started? Rish Lakish came along, and Rish Lakish said, I'm going to tell you from where we know that there is an Isra Achila from Basar B'chala. Where does Rish Lakish learn it out from, Abosai? Where does he learn it out from? Where does he learn it out from? It was the end of Amud Aleph 4 minutes ago. Karban Pesach. Karban Pesach. Right? Sorry? Right. Basham Vushal. Good. Thank you, Uncle. Good. Basham Throw me a bone, right? So Basham Vushal. So Rish Lakish learns it out ultimately again from Karban Pesach. Ubasham Vushal, the extra, the double lashon, to teach me that what I will say, follow this for just a moment, to teach me that just as you're not allowed to cook the Karban Pesach, there's a redundancy in that phrase. You don't need bashal, just say bashal, right? So the redundancy teaches me that it's also usher to cook something else. What's the other item that you're not permitted to cook? Basar b'chalav. Rabbi Yochanan says, I don't say, Rish Lakish, what's your problem? What's your problem? What's wrong with the drasha of Rebbe? Rebbe also had a drasha, lo sochlenu, and without rehashing everything, lo sochlenu, Rebbe says, also teaches me basar b'chalav. To which, now to close out the circuit, Rish Lakish says back to Rabbi Yochanan, I'll tell you what the problem is. That drush of lo sochlenu only teaches me what? Only teaches me an isser achila. But ultimately, again, doesn't teach me an isser hana. Do you know what the beauty of the Karban Pesach drush is? Rabbi says what? That from bashal mevushal, not only can I learn an isser achila, but I can also learn an isser hana. Why? Because what happens if you go ahead and you shecht your Karban Pesach, and instead of roasting it, you go ahead and you cook it? What's the status of that Karban? Not only is it not good, obviously it doesn't count as the Karban. Not only can you not eat it, but you also can't get hana'ah from it. So we'll say, if you think about it again, that drasha from Basar B'chalav is a great drasha. That drasha of Karban Pesach is an incredible drasha vis-a-vis Basar B'chalav, because it provides me with both the context and the source for an Isra Achila and an Isra Hana. Masha'inkin Rebbe's drasha of Lo Sochlenu certainly provides me with the ability to darshan Isra Achila, but not necessarily Isra Hana. So therefore the Gemara says, for Rebbe ba'ana minale. So where does Rebbe learn out the Isra Hana from Basar B'chalav? Nafkale mihacha. He learns it out from here. Here we go. Ne'emar kan ki am kadosh atah la'Hashem Elokecha. So we'll say, it says over here, for you are a holy people, ultimately to Hashem Yigad. We'll say, this is in the pasuk of Lo Siva Shagudi B'Chaliv Yimo. So we'll say, so the pasuk reads, Lo Sochlu Kol Nevela, L'ger Hashem B'Sharecha Titna Nevachala, O Machor L'Nachri. So we'll say, Torah tells you can't eat Nevela, Ki Am Kadosh Atah L'Hashem Elokecha. You are a holy nation to Hashem your God. Lo Siva Shagudi B'Chaliv Yimo. Do not cook the kid in its mother's milk. So we'll say, so that phrase, Ki Am Kadosh Atah, is written by Basar B'chalav. It's also written, V'nemar La'alon, V'lo yeh kadesh b'bnei Yisrael. Now, both interestingly enough, in a totally different context, the Torah says, Lo siyeh kadesha b'bnos Yisrael, v'lo yeh kadesh b'bnei Yisrael. We'll say, a kadesha is like a harlot, right? People who give themselves over to immorality. Say, now a man can't do it, a woman can't do it. V'lo yeh kadesh b'bnei Yisrael. Ma lahalon bana. So we'll say, just like over there, it's an Isser Hana. So we'll say, meaning, what does that mean? So just like ultimately, again, by the Isser of Arayos, right? It's an Isser Hana. You're not permitted to be nana from Arayos. Afkan Bana. So too over here by Basar B'chalav, it is going to be an Isser Hana as well. So very interesting. So interestingly enough, Rebbe is going to learn the Isser Hana from Basar B'chalav from the phrase Ki Am Kadosh Atah L'Hashem Elokecha. Literally almost like a Gzer Shava of Kadosh, Kadesh. Just like the Kadesh, Kadesha, Isser Ba'ana, so too the Kadosh by Basar B'chalav is going to be Asr Ba'ana. Incredible. Debei Rabbi Eliezer Tana. So both in the Shiva Rabbi Eliezer, they dash in the following. Tana lo sochlu kol nevela. Pasuk says you cannot eat any nevela. Amra Torah, kishe timkarena, lo sivashlena v'timkarena. So say this is actually an interesting drasha. So they dash like this. Torah says you can't eat any nevela. What it means is when you sell it, do not cook it and sell it. So I'll say, so remember again, the reason the Gemara is dashing these things is because the psukim are juxtaposed. First, you have the Isra Nevela, and it says ultimately, again, as we saw in yesterday's daf, you can go ahead and give it to the ger or sell it to the Nachri. But what it's telling me is that before I go ahead and give it or sell it, do not cook it. Rashi says, Lo siv ashlana bechel bovetim karena, alma asura ba'ana. Good. So the Gemara goes weiter. Rabbi Shmuel Tana, Lo siv ashel gedi bechalivim o gimel pamim. So we'll say, here we go. So we'll say, so now, I just want to point out what we have. Remember, the reason we have to go through this entire avoda is because the Torah phrases the prohibition of basar b'chalav as an isser bishul. Yet we know that it's an isser bishul, isser achila, isser hana. So we'll say, so again, so what we're trying to figure out is, from where do I learn out the isser achila and the Isser Hana? That's what we're trying to. The Isser Bishul I got. That's explicit. Isser Achila, Isser Hana. From where does that come? So we'll say it's exciting because we're just getting to see all of the various opinions. So the Gemara goes weiter. Tana, lo sivash. Sorry, the Rabbi Shmuel Tana. So we'll say in the Rabbi Shmuel the darshan as follows. The darshan as follows. Lo sivashel gedi bechalevimo gimel pamim. Torah writes lo sivashel gedi bechalevimo 3 times. Echad leIsser Achila. The echad leIsser Hana, the echad leIsser Bishul. Right, 1 for an Isser Achila, 1 for an Isser Hana, and 1 for an Isser Bishul. So we'll say, so by the way, this is the classical interpretation that all of us are used to for one simple reason. This is what Rashi HaKadosh quotes on the Torah. Right, so again, 3 times, Isser Bishul, Isser Achila, Isser Hana. Says the Gemara, Tana, Isi ben Yehuda Omer. So we'll say, by the way, it's interesting that this is the last one mentioned, right? We just spent almost a blot of Gemara trying to understand from where do I learn out? The Isra Achila and Isra Hana, and the most pashat one, interesting enough, is mentioned last. Interesting. Tanya Isi ben Yehuda Omer Minay lebasar b'chalav she'asar. From where do I know that basar b'chalav is asar? Ne'emar kan ki am kadosh ata. It says over here, for you are a holy nation. V'ne'emar lahalon va'anshe kodesh tihiyuni. Ubasar basadet shreifa lo sochelu. So we'll say, so listen to this. It says over here, Kiam Kadosh Ata, that over, right, it says over here that ultimately what? You are a holy nation. V'ne'emar lahalon anshe kodesh tiuni basar basadet shreifa lo sochelu. So we'll say, so this is talking about the Isser Treifa. If you find an animal killed by another animal, so you are a holy people, you cannot eat a Treifa animal. Ma lahalon aser, just like over there it is aser. Afkan aser, so to here it's aser. So we'll say, so remember again, it says am kadosh by basar b'chalav, and it says kadosh anshe kodesh by treifa. Just like you can't eat treifa, so to what? You can't eat basar b'chalav. That's very nice, but there's a problem. So the Gemara says ve'inli el achila ba'ana minai. So also remember again, treifa is only, and not only, but treifa is only an Isra Achila. It's not an Isra Hana. So from where do I know that basar b'chalav is also Asar ba'ana? To which the Gemara says, Amrit kavachomer. Here we go. Here's the kavachomer. Uma orla shalo ne'evda ba'avira asura ba'ana. So we'll say, here we go. We'll say, you know what? These Gemaras are so exciting because like it's like Gans Torah. Like your mamish, like we're bringing everything in over here. So kavachomer from orla. So orla shalo ne'evda ba'avira. So we'll say, what's orla? Orla is the fruit of what? First 3 years. That fruit is off limits. Now remember again, that fruit, shalom na'avda ba'avera. So we'll say, it's not like the pshat, like kloya kerem. So if you plant kloya kerem, then you have resulting produce that you did something also to create that produce. So or the Rabbi will say, lo na'avda avera, right? Nothing, you didn't do anything wrong, yet asura bana. Yet ultimately again, arla is asur bana. Basa b'chalav she'ne'avda ba'avera, eno din she'asur bana. So we'll say, basar b'chalav, where what? I didn't do something wrong, right? What did I do wrong, Rabbi say? What did I do wrong? I cooked it together. Remember again, there's an Isser Bishul by basar b'chalav. So we'll say, so if by Arla, where I didn't do anything wrong, and it's Asar ba'ana, or all the more so basar b'chalav, where I did do something wrong, I cooked it, which is Asar, should certainly be Asar ba'ana. Here's the problem. Ma'la Arla shekein lo haisala shas hakosher. So we'll say, but here's the difference between Arla and basar b'chalav. We'll say, you know what the greatest chiddush of basar b'chalav, the greatest chiddush of basar b'chalav is that they're both independently mutter. Nowhere else in the Torah do we have an Isser, right, where both are independently mutter and then come together. Now the truth is, we actually do have other examples of this. Right, Klayim is like that, right? Klayim is like that, but don't be so clear. I'm still correct. I'll tell you why I'm still correct. Because the truth is, that's all part of the same Isser, meaning Basar B'chalav is in the Kilayim family. It's all the Kilayim Isser. Aside from the category of Kilayim, ultimately, again, the chiddush of kilayim is, right, wool and linen by themselves are mutter. Grain and grapes by themselves independently are mutter. Milk and meat independently are mutter. And suddenly, again, when you mix them together, they create this combined isser. So the Gemara says as follows, Arla, so maybe you can't learn out Basar B'chalav from Arla, and I'll tell you why. So Ma'ala Arla, Shekein La Haisa La Shas HaKosher. Ultimately, again, Arla, both say never had a time when it was kosher, right? Arla, meaning from its inception, was always, so we'll say, but yet what? That's not true by Basar B'chalav, because what's halacha by Basar B'chalav? It did have a shas kosher, to which the Gemara says, chametz b'pesach yochiach. So let's learn out from chametz on Pesach. Shahaisa la shas kosher. The regular Rabbi say chametz on Pesach ultimately, again, had plenty of time in which it was mutter, right, for the rest of the year, except for 1 week of Pesach. V'aser bana, yet it's aser bana. So say the same thing by what? By Basar B'chalav. It had a shas kosher, but ultimately becomes aser bana. Malachamitz b'Pesach shekin anush kares. So the truth is, you can't learn out anything from chametz. Why? Because we'll say chametz is much more severe than regular isurim. Because it has a penalty of kares. Kalai hakerem yochiach. So we'll say, so let's learn it from Klai HaKerem. She'in anush kares va'aser ba'ana. Ultimately, again, I will say, because Klai HaKerem could go ahead and prove this. Why? There's no prohibition ultimately of kares, and it is aser ba'ana. To which the Gemara says, Lamali gzeira shava, leisi kula b'kal v'chomer me'arla. So we'll say, if that's the case, why do I need the gzeira shava? Let me just learn out everything from arla. Uma arla shalo ne'evda ba'avira asura. Bein ba'achila, bein ba'ana. So when it comes to Arla, which again, never did, so to speak, never participated in Isser. Lo ne'ev davar means Arla is not the result of some type of prohibited act. And yet what? It is Aser ba'achila ba'ana, Basar B'chalav she'ne'ev da bo avera, ein odin she'aser bein ba'achila, bein ba'ana. So we'll say, if Arla, which is not the product of forbidden action, yet what? Becomes Aser ba'achila ba'ana, Basar B'chalav, will say, which is the result of forbidden action, because it's Aser to even cook Basar B'chalav together, should what? Should certainly be Aser ba'achila ba'ana, to which the Gemara says, Mishum de'ika le'meimar, choresh b'shar u'b'chamar, v'chosein pipara, v'dash ba'yochiach, she'ne'ev ba'avera v'sharu. So the Gemara says, listen to this. So the Gemara says, I'll tell you what we could b'shum de'ika le'meimar, because ultimately there's a pircha. What's the pircha? Choresh b'shar b'chamar. If a person goes in and plows with his ox and his donkey together, or the case of chosein pipara, or the case of where one muzzles his donkey your cow while threshing, v'dash ba'yochiach, because we'll say these are situations where what? You performed an isser, and yet what? V'sharu. They will say sharu means what? This is what we started with before, right? What's sharu? Sharu means, I will say, if you go ahead and you violate the halacha and you plow with an ox and a donkey together, what's the status of what grows from your field? What's the status of that produce? It's mutter. Same thing if you go ahead and you muzzle your cow and you have the cow thresh your grain. So we'll say, so what's the status of that threshed grain? Mutter. So what do you see from here? You see from here that there are circumstances where even if you're doing something that is usr, the resulting product will be mutter. That pretty much kind of destroys the kal v'chomer, because we wanted to say, just like Arla, Shalom ne'evda ba'isr, yet it has an isra achil and isra ana. So Basar B'chalav, that was created in isr, certainly has an isra achil and isra ana, which the Gemara says not necessarily, because there are things which you create in isr, but yet what? But yet still remain mutter ba'achila, so we'll stop over here for today with the Lamali L'Meimar. We'll pick up in Meretz Hashem tomorrow here. I want to share with you just a short idea on the parasha. So we'll say there's a pasuk in the beginning of the parasha. I may have told this to some of you yesterday over the course of Purim. But the pasuk really struck me in such a in such an neshamadik way, and I think Torah is conveying to us such a profound lesson. So this is in the beginning of Parashas Tzav, Perek Vav, Pasuk Daled. To give you the context, so the Torah is telling us that halacha l'maisa, the first thing that the Kohen does during the day is Trumas Hadeshen. He goes ahead and he removes the ash from the Mizbeach and takes it out. So the Torah says something amazing. This is Perek Vav, Perek Vav, Pasuk Daled, chapter 6, verse 4. So the Pasuk says, Upashat es bigadav v'lavash bigadim acherim. He will take off his clothing and he will put on other clothing. V'otzias hadeshen al michutz l'machane makom tahar. And he will take out the ash to outside of the camp to a pure place. We'll say a very simple and straightforward pasuk. Rashi HaKadosh tells us, of course, when he takes out the ash, he's going to change his clothing. It's not right for the Kohen. He's essentially taking out the trash. So it's not nice for the Kohen to wear his regular big day kuna when he's doing this. He changes his clothing in order to take out the ash. But the Torah is conveying to us something incredibly and overwhelmingly profound. Ufashat es bigadav v'lavash bigadim acherim. I will say, sometimes in life, you have to change your clothing. What does your clothing represent? And this is a profound lesson, especially coming off of Purim. Right? Something you have to change your clothing. What does clothing represent? Well, clothing represents your external circumstances of life. Clothing represents the chitzonius. That sometimes in life there are external circumstances which are holding me back. Sometimes it's the wrong association with the wrong kind of people. Sometimes there are certain flawed aspects of my lifestyle. Sometimes there are certain things within my home life that need to change, my work life that need to change, my social life that need to change. That's ultimately the begadim that we wear. The clothing that we wear are the external circumstances of our lives. Step number one in growth is sometimes you have to find the courage to take off the old clothing and replace it with new clothing. Upashates bigadav v'lavash bigadim achirim. That's step one. Step two, votzias hadeshen. Step three, Rabosai, is take out the trash. See, all of us sit and live with ash, right? We sit with stuff that sits in our heart, that sits in our soul, that we've been lugging around and schlepping around for a very long time. And it's stuff that occupies valuable emotional and spiritual real estate. It's negativity that sometimes overtakes me in such profound and negative ways. The first order of business is, the second order of business is, v'hotzias hadeshen. You have to identify the trash. You have to identify the ash which you have inside. And you have to find the courage to take out the trash. Because Rabosai, unless I'm willing to identify that which is dark and that which is broken and that which is trash inside of me and figure out how to expunge it, it stymies my growth and prevents me from self-actualizing. And Rabosai, lastly, if I'm able to do these things, if I'm able to go ahead, and where do I have to take the trash? Amichutz l'machana. Got to get it out of your life. Got to get it out of your life. You have to figure out a way to offload the negativity which may be weighing you down. I will say two profound steps to overwhelming and cathartic life change. It's one step. Change your clothing. Find the courage, and I will say it's amazing. Then the model of change, the first thing you start changing is not anything within. You start changing the external pieces first, because first of all, those are a little bit easier and a little bit more obvious. Change your clothing. Change your external circumstances. Make the changes that need to be made. Step number two, take out the trash. Get rid of the ash, which ultimately is clouding your neshama and preventing you from becoming the real you need to be. And if you take those two steps, well, say, how does the pasuk end? Al makom tahar. You'll be zocha me'eretz Hashem to make the journey to the most heilig, to the holiest, to the most pure of places in life. If you find the courage to change your clothing, if you find the courage to take out your personal trash, then Amirat Hashem, you will be zocha to make it to the destination of your makom of Tara. Good Shabbos.